In a secret assassin organization, every hitman retires at the age of 50 with an $8 million payout. But there's a deadly catch. The boss eliminates them before they can receive money. This time, however, he targets the wrong man, a legendary assassin who won't go down without a fight and is about to turn the tables. To know the whole story, watch it till the end. The movie begins in a luxurious mansion in Chile, where retired assassin Michael Green is enjoying time with a woman named Cindy. Suddenly, a group of his former colleagues, Facundo, Hilda, and Alexei, surround the mansion with guns. Cindy is secretly working with them as a honey trapper, and while she distracts Michael, Facundo shoots him in the back. Hilda and Alexei then rush in and fire more shots, killing him brutally. Afterward, Facundo calls his boss, Blut, to confirm the job is done. Soon, another assassin, Carl, arrives in a helicopter and they all escape. After this, we meet Duncan, who is about to turn 50. He visits his doctor for a routine checkup, even though he is in excellent health. However, scars on his skin and metal fragments in his body reveal his violent past. After a quick examination, the doctor finds no issues except for Duncan's smoking habit. Duncan, known as the legendary assassin Black Kaiser, works for a company called Damocles, which retires its assassins at 50. While making a $200,000 donation to an unknown recipient, his personal accountant informs him that in 14 days, on his 50th birthday, he will receive his $8 million pension from Damocles. After Michael's funeral, Duncan meets Vivian, a former assassin who now manages assignments for Damocles. She informs him that their boss has given him one last mission before retirement, a revenge job against Michael's killers. However, instead of the real assassin team, she names a Mexican assassin living in Belarus as the target. To persuade him, she offers a $1 million payout. Duncan stays silent and leaves the restaurant without agreeing. Back home in Triple Oak, Montana, Duncan receives multiple messages on the Damocles private network. He finally responds to Vivian, destroying SIM cards after each call to avoid being traced. Vivian increases the offer to $2 million, half up front and the rest after the job. Though still hesitant, Duncan tells her to upload the mission details to the Damocles server. Meanwhile, Vivian meets with Blut for approval to transfer the money. However, Blut has his own agenda. He plans to sell the company and has been secretly killing off retiring assassins to steal their pension funds. Instead of paying them, he's eliminating them. Since Duncan has the largest pension fund, Blut sees him as the biggest target. He assigns him one last job as a setup to eliminate him. Vivian warns Blut that it's safer to pay Duncan his pension instead of risking a fight with the Black Kaiser. But Blut refuses to listen. Meanwhile, Duncan quietly starts investigating his target. Once he gathers enough information, he travels to Belarus without informing Vivian. Disguised as a maintenance worker, he enters the target's hotel, making loud noises on purpose to provoke him. When the irritated assassin steps out, Duncan pins him to the wall. After taking down a few henchmen, he discovers a file with his own details and realizes it was all a setup to get him killed. Determined to find out who's behind it, Duncan interrogates the hitman with an electric drill, but the man has no answers. After eliminating him, Duncan snaps a photo of the body and calls Vivian, pretending to accept the job only after receiving the $1 million down payment. He immediately sends her proof of the kill and demands the full payment within 24 hours. Panicked, Vivian rushes to Blut, informing him that Duncan completed the mission and is now expecting the rest of his money. Vivian is enraged and urges her boss to quickly pay Duncan the full amount and his pension, warning that the Black Kaiser wouldn't just sit back and would likely come after them. Worried that Duncan might turn against them, the boss agrees to pay the remaining $1 million but refuses to give him his pension. Instead, he instructs the specialist assassins to take down the Black Kaiser. Meanwhile, the specialists are on a mission to locate Duncan, so they track down his personal accountant and pressure him into disclosing Duncan's location. The accountant hands over a file containing information on 4 properties Duncan owns, each in a different state. However, since he genuinely doesn't know where Duncan is currently residing, the assassins kill him on the spot. The team then visits each address one by one in search of Duncan. Their first stop is in Florida, where Cindy, as usual, arrives in a flashy outfit. But things quickly go wrong. The apartment is rented out, and the current resident mistakes Cindy for some kind of service he ordered. After failing to find Duncan at any of the 4 properties, the assassins ruthlessly eliminate the tenants at each location. After digging further into Duncan's files, the team discovers that he has been making occasional $200,000 transfers to an unknown recipient through a bank in Triple Oak, Montana. Meanwhile, after completing his mission, Duncan returns home, where he's constantly haunted by memories of a violent past mission. As he goes about his daily life, he notices a new neighbor, Camille, who's just moved into the house next to his. Duncan often runs into Camille at the convenience store and nearby restaurants. He observes that Camille always appears sad and startles easily at the slightest noise. It's clear that she's going through a difficult time in her life. Over time, Duncan and Camille develop a connection, spending more time together and talking. Duncan tries to support Camille in his own way, even buying her a gun and attempting to teach her how to shoot. But she's unable to pull the trigger and seems deeply troubled by the weapon, likely due to a traumatic experience in her past. The assassins track Duncan to Montana and find him while he's out buying a gift for Camille. On his way home, he meets Cindy, who pretends her car broke down. She asks for help, claiming her phone is dead. Duncan takes her to his house, not realizing she's part of setup. She casually mentions that help will come at 10 a.m., ensuring she stays overnight. Cindy flirts with Duncan to distract him while Facundo and the assassins prepare to attack. Just as Facundo takes the shot, Duncan reacts quickly, dodging the bullet, which instead hits Cindy in the shoulder. He jumps off the bed and takes cover while Facundo sprays the house with bullets. Acting fast, Duncan throws an axe and kills Cindy. Soon after, Hilda and Carl break into the house, but Duncan has already escaped. He tracks Facundo's location, finds him, and quickly kills the sniper before taking his rifle. Using the thermal scope, Duncan spots Hilda shots her. Suddenly, Carl sneaks up behind him, but Duncan reacts instantly and kills him too. Afterward, Duncan searches for clues about who sent the assassins. He finds a room key for a nearby and heads there. Inside, he finds Jane completely drugged out. In her rambling, she reveals that Camille has been kidnapped by Alexei. Wasting no time, Duncan rushes to Camille's house, only to find that she's already gone. At Blood's mansion, he is furious to learn that Duncan has killed Hilda and wiped out his assassin team. Vivian smirks, reminding him that she warned him not to mess with Duncan. Once again, she advises him to just pay Duncan's pension and avoid further trouble, but Blood refuses. Meanwhile, Duncan seeks help from his old friend, Porter, a retired assassin who knows how Blood operates. After Duncan explains the situation, Porter reveals that Blood plans to kill him before he can retire, and that Camille is likely being held at Blood's mansion. However, just as Duncan is about to leave, Porter betrays him by drugging him unconscious. It turns out Porter made a deal with Blood to turn Duncan in for a reward. Duncan wakes up chained in Blood's underground dungeon. With 4 days left until Duncan's birthday, Blood plans to torture him before executing him. As part of his cruel game, he shows Duncan pictures of Camille. Blood reveals that Camille remains in a confused, drugged state under Jane's control. While Blood is torturing Duncan with a knife, the blade snaps against a metal implant in Duncan's body. Furious, Blood slashes his face and stabs him in the left eye. That night, drenched in blood, Duncan uses the broken knife piece to unlock his chains. By morning, when the guards enter, he ambushes them and kills them all. When Blood arrives, Duncan cuts the power, using the darkness to his advantage. He moves swiftly, eliminating as many guards as possible. As Blood flees, Duncan fights his way out, taking down anyone in his path. Wounded and weak, Duncan goes to Jasmine's apartment, a trusted gun dealer, and gets help. She helps him recover and supplies him with advanced weapons. Once he's ready, Duncan calls Vivian, asks her to leave Camille if they want him. Vivian agrees, but she and Blood secretly plan to betray him. Duncan sets up a heavy machine gun in an abandoned warehouse and calls Vivian again. This time, he arranges a meeting at a train station the next morning, but intentionally leaves the call open, allowing Vivian to trace him. She arrives with a team of armed men, including Alexei. Facing off, Duncan gives Vivian a chance to walk away, but she refuses, thinking she has him trapped. As her team prepares to fire, Duncan raises his hands, only to trigger his laser-guided machine gun, instantly wiping out all of Blood's men. Surprisingly, he spares the wounded Vivian and moves on to confront his true target, Blood. Watching through security cameras, Blood panics and orders his remaining guards to protect him. But when Duncan arrives at the mansion, the guards choose to flee instead of fighting. Blood tries to have Camille brought to him, but it's too late. The Black Kaiser is already in his room. With one swift axe swing, Duncan decapitates him. Duncan rescues Camille and takes her back to Montana to recover. While in her bedroom, he comes across old newspaper articles about a family that was murdered years ago. This murder was carried out by him because of the false information which took innocent family death, and there's only survivor, who is Camille. That mistake has haunted him ever since. Though he secretly made donations to support her over the years, he never saw her until now. Suddenly, Camille appears behind him, pointing a gun at his head. She tells him that all she remembers is his face, the man who slaughtered her family before her eyes and destroyed her life. With tears in his eyes, Duncan apologizes, explaining that the job had gone terribly wrong. He knows she has every right to hate him and is ready to accept whatever comes next. If killing him will bring her peace, he tells her to go ahead. Shaking with emotion, Camille hesitates but finally pulls the trigger. However, the shot misses Duncan. In the final scene, she turns to him and asks for his help in uncovering who ordered her family's murder. In this way, movie ends here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe for more interesting movie recaps.